Am I the a-hole for going nuclear on my aunt at my wedding after her son harassed my SIL? My wedding was 2 weeks ago, and instead of basking in the happiness of starting a new chapter with my husband, I feel like I'm living in the wreckage of a bomb I personally set off. Every time my phone buzzes, I brace myself for another guilt-tripping message. And even though I know what I did was out of anger and protection, I can't shake the feeling that I went too far. 28F, just married the love of my life, 30M. His family is Arab Muslim, and honestly, they are the best people I have ever known. I grew up an only child in a very fractured, complicated family, so the warmth and love his parents and siblings showed me felt like something I'd been searching for my entire life. They didn't just welcome me, they embraced me. His mother treats me like a daughter, his sisters treat me like a real sister, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I had a stable, supportive family. On my side, the story is very different. My half-brother, dad's side, is much older and lives in Japan. We barely talk, but even he still called to congratulate me. My parents, however, were never supportive of my relationship. They criticized, nitpicked, and even tried to guilt me into calling the wedding off. It wasn't until I put my foot down and told them I'd cut them off completely if they didn't back down that they reluctantly showed up. So I already knew they weren't going to be a source of comfort or joy that day. The wedding itself, though, started off beautifully. The ceremony was flawless, the food was perfect, the speeches were heartfelt, and for a moment, I felt like maybe everything would be okay. Even my parents smiled in some of the photos, and I thought, maybe we can just get through one day without drama. But then there's my cousin, Mark, 35M. My aunt begged me to invite him, and even though I had reservations, I gave in because I didn't want a pre-wedding battle. Big mistake. Mark has always been a walking disaster. He's a notorious womanizer, has 3 kids with 3 different women he doesn't support, and his own father is the one keeping those children afloat financially. He's arrogant, selfish, and causes chaos wherever he goes. But to my aunt, he's the golden child who can do no wrong. Toward the end of the reception, I heard a scream that cut through the music and laughter, like glass shattering. When I turned, I saw my youngest sister-in-law, Layla, 19F, backed against the wall with Mark standing in front of her, dripping wet. She was the one who screamed, and she was holding an empty glass of water. My heart dropped because I knew immediately something was wrong. My older SIL and a few other guests were already rushing over, and I pieced together what happened in seconds. Mark had cornered Layla, making disgusting comments about her hijab. He told her she was too pretty to be hiding under that thing, and that she was wasting her perfect face. Then, the part that made me see red, he actually reached out and tried to tug it off her head, saying he wanted to see her beautiful hair. That's when she threw the water at him and screamed. Here's the thing, Layla has a history. She went through a traumatic accident years ago, and ever since, she's struggled deeply with being around men. Even hugging her own dad or brothers took years of patience, therapy, and gentle rebuilding of trust. For her to be cornered, harassed, and touched by a man at my wedding, my cousin, no less, was absolutely horrifying. She was trembling like a leaf, on the verge of tears, and I swear I have never felt such a protective rage in my life. My older SIL, who is a force of nature, was already in Mark's face, and it was about to explode. That's when my father-in-law, with the calmness of a man who doesn't need to raise his voice to command respect, stepped between them and said, "It is time for you to leave my son's wedding." The finality in his tone was chilling. Mark, for once, didn't have a comeback. I thought that would be the end of it. I was already turning back toward Layla to comfort her when my aunt stormed over. She was furious, not at her son, but at us. "You can't kick him out. He was just joking. She's being too sensitive." First it was he was complimenting her, then it was he was joking, and finally it was he didn't mean any harm. Then my own mother chimed in. "I'm sorry, but she's right. This is a huge overreaction. Mark didn't mean anything by it. That's just how he is." That's when something inside me snapped. I looked at Layla, still shaking, still terrified, and then at my mother and aunt excusing the man who just traumatized her. And I couldn't hold it in anymore. I turned to my aunt and said sharply, "No. He needs to leave. Now." She immediately shot back, "You are not going to disrespect your family like this." And that's when I dropped the nuke. Family? Don't lecture me about family. Your blind worship of your useless, good-for-nothing son is exactly why your life is a mess. He ruins every event he attends, and you just cover for him. That's why your other child hasn't spoken to you in 5 years. You wonder why your daughter went no contact? It's because of this. Because you always choose him over everyone he hurts. And now you're doing it again. He is leaving, and you can leave with him." The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My aunt burst into tears and stormed out, dragging Mark with her. My parents followed, giving me their classic "you're a disappointment" glare on the way out. Since then, my phone has been blowing up with angry messages. My parents have called me cruel, vicious, and accused me of weaponizing my aunt's estrangement with her daughter. My aunt has been sending them dramatic texts about how I broke her heart and humiliated her at a family event. My husband, thank God, has been nothing but supportive. He told me I did the right thing, that Layla needed me in that moment, and that his family knows who the real monsters are. Still, I can't shake the guilt. Mark was absolutely wrong. I will never regret defending my sister-in-law. But what I keep replaying in my head is the way I ripped into my aunt. I know her daughter leaving is a raw wound, and I threw it in her face in front of everyone. I feel like I detonated a bomb just to win a fight, and now my entire family is radioactive. So, am I the a-hole?